This is probably my favorite one. Number 8, yeah, but guy. I scanned the internet for negative comments on debates I was watching and lectures and things like that, looking for patterns. And I noticed that one of the biggest barriers to having an open mind is not having a closed mind. It's a failure to understand a basic philosophy 101 principle, which is the consideration of time and relationship. In other words, context. People will often hear a statement and say, yeah, but that doesn't work for a guy in Alaska and 4 chickens. Okay, fair enough. But perhaps the advice that you just heard was not for a guy in Alaska with 4 chickens. Can you think of someone for whom it is good advice? This is what you ought to do. You ought to first understand what a speaker is trying to say. But a lot of us kind of shut down part of our brain as we're listening because we immediately, I have no idea why we do this, immediately, the first thing that we want to think about is this imaginary context in which what the speaker is telling us is not true. We try to imagine a very narrow context in which what we heard is false, especially if what we heard is uncomfortable or invokes change within us. Whoa, huge resistance there. We need to summon Yeah But Guy. Yeah But Guy will come to the rescue and save us from making any changes. Yeah, but that doesn't work for everyone in every context in every single situation, does it? See? Gotcha. And people assume that if it doesn't work for everyone at every time in every relationship, it isn't true for anyone at any time in any relationship. The truth is, and this is a very critical understanding in philosophy, is that it may very well be true at one time in one relationship, but not true in another time in another relationship. It may be true at the same time, but in a different relationship. It can be true at one time in one relationship, but it could be false in another time and in the same relationship. And so you really need to make sure all things line up. When you hear a statement, first think of a time and a context for which the statement could be true. The same statement can be false in one context, but true in another. In particular, a context you haven't thought of yet. The same statement can be false in one relationship or time, but true in another relationship or time, the same exact statement. So in other words, you want to steel man what you're hearing before you straw man it. So steel man, like reinforce an argument, straw man, cut an argument down in basic terms. Now there's another interpretation of what steel man and straw man means. We're not going to get into that. You should straw man an argument. You should also steel man an argument, and you should do that first. It's more helpful to you as a listener, trust me. You still want to question it, right? Just question it second, because first you want to make sure you understand what's being said. That's active listening. Okay, here's another example. I once published a video on the dangers of